Plan Ned Brotherhood is not AFL iated or ASOC iated with Plan Ed Parenthood. Plan Ed Parenthood is a Regis Terd Trad de Mark of Plan Ed Parenthood. Feed Oration of Amer Ica Inc.
Hi everybody, this is a bonus episode that we recorded with Nick Orlando quite a while ago. We make a lot of mention to it in episode 73, which is our last episode, so make sure you've heard that one first and enjoy. I'm drinking Coors Light without a Blue Mountain on it.
It's officially warm. That plan fucking backfired on him.
What?
Yeah. Oh,
No,
cool.
no,
Now
just
my
hates
beer
all
is
the time.
warm. Great.
Well, it probably sucks most for like shitty bars.
Yeah, exactly. Here's your Coors Light. Could I get a blue bottle? No.
This has been in the fridge all day, okay? Asshole. Dude, at Shorty's, that guy was giving me so much shit for ordering a gimlet.
How much shit did he give you? I don't know how much you were reading into that.
He was so pissed when I was explaining to him how to make it, and I was like, I want half lime juice and half gin.
I'm not a bartender, but that sounds pretty easy.
And then he's like pouring it into a shot glass like it's a shot. And then I was like, no. I was like, you put it in a martini glass? He's like, in a martini glass, huh? And I go, yeah. He's like, just because? I was like, well, it's a martini. Like, if you pour it into a shot glass, you're going to throw away a ton more.
Yeah.
So was he just thinking a different drink altogether then, probably?
He made enough for a martini glass, but he was just going to pour it into like a small shot glass.
Oh, I see.
Just because, huh? I told you, my new plan is to just walk into a bar, especially a bar like that, and like especially if we're at a booth, like just give the guy $20 right up front, and being like, hey, you know, we drink fast, so just keep us full all night long. You give him that good tip right at the beginning, and then still tip him at the end of the night.
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to ask about that. You still tip at the end?
Because he was after I ordered that first drink, which is like a $5 drink, I was like, you know, I'm thinking in my head, okay, I'm going to order a lot of these. I'm going to give you a $5 tip right now. And then he was totally fine with me.
Sure, of course he was.
After that. So, but I don't like that I got that attitude in the first fucking place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
I don't know why you're shitting on my one standby bar. That's my cheers.
They just shouldn't give you attitude. But if you walk in there and you go, here's $20 right now, I order kind of a picky drink.
You know what? That guy's kind of a dick. What did he look like?
He was like kind of short and, I don't know, blonde, dirty blonde.
You're doing gimlets, though, right? Gimlets are a pretty basic
Dude,
drink. It's not
it's
like
a fucking gin martini. Put some lime juice in.
Make sure it's roses, please, though. Make sure it's roses.
Well, he was like squeezing fresh lime in there. I wasn't about to tell him after his fucking attitude fest.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you know, go ahead and just use Rose's lime juice. Oh, just because, huh?
Yeah. Well, it's good with fresh limes, but because of the sweetened lime roses, that's nice. It makes it a little easier to drink, but I like it with just like regular squeezed limes. I'd probably do the same thing, though.
Yeah, I like the Rose's lime.
How do you guys feel about Bud Light with lime?
Never had it.
No, it's not good.
It's injected with grossness. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Anything that has lime pre-built into it, I don't trust it.
And as like a bartender,
Not even Sprite.
Is it like a bartender or even just someone who's waiting table? Someone's like, "Can I get a Bud Light with lime?" And so then you bring them a Bud Light with a lime wedge in it, and they're like, "No, I want a Bud Light lime." And I'm like, "Well, you pretty much got it, man."
I need to see it on the label before I trust
exactly.
it.
Here's a fresh way to drink it.
Yeah.
I hate when people
This is the
come
old school.
It's people that love
version.
beer but hate fruit, but love the idea of fruit.
Yeah.
They also got Starburst waiting back for them at home.
Yeah, exactly.
People-
Went to Farmer's
Another
Market.
Starburst hangover.
Yeah. I went to Farmer's Market, got a shit ton of Starburst. Yeah, that went nowhere.
Don't bail on yourself so quickly.
Moving back and ignoring that, people come into where I work all the time, and they're like, "Oh, give me one of those Bud Light Cheladas."
Oh yeah,
Just like a 24-ounce can of Bud Light and Clamato juice. Like,
I got a story about that when
you
you're
can
done.
order that, but don't be fucking pissed if we don't have it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, come on.
And do you guys carry it?
I mean, like, come
ordinarily?
on. No, of course we don't. That's a ridiculous.
You have like one person in a month that wants it. you
Yeah,
know?
we don't sell cans of anything.
Yeah.
let alone like a 24-ounce can of Bud Light and Clamato juice.
And with a Bud Light Lime,
restaurant.
Michelob Ultra is trying to compete with that, and so they have a Michelob Ultra Lime Chelada thing going on, and people are like, "Hey, can I get that?" And I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Like, no, we don't have.
That's
that.
not on tap.
You can try to order it, but see where you work, that's more of a real bar.
Sure.
But even if you're just at a restaurant like the Olive Garden, you can try to order it. But how dare you get pissed if we don't have it?
Yeah.
Okay, but couldn't they just order? Isn't that essentially, except for you keep saying, are they requesting 24-ounce cans? Because isn't that just a bloody beer where you can put V8 and beer in a glass?
Well, two things. One is they're ordering a Bud Light Chelada.
Oh, okay.
Like, that's what they're wanting, which is that can. And no, Clamato juice is different from V8 tomato. We don't.
Well, they have a Bud Light / Clamato too, I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It's called Chelada.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I drank one when I was in Vegas last time on a
Did
dare.
you?
Between Robin and Margaret, they offered me $10 and they would buy me this 24-ounce beer, but I had to finish it. And it was so disgusting. Like, I can drink a Bloody Mary now and again. Tomato juice doesn't gross me out that much.
It's Clamato juice, though.
It's almost the same, yeah, but except the clams.
clams.
Yeah, I know. That's the key difference. But I thought it would be basically the same. But that, I don't open a beer wanting seafood.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
I actually did kind of like them, but I never order them on the regular. I think it'd be good for camping, like, if you want a red beer in the morning and stuff. But I would never go to a bar and order it. If anything, if I really liked it that much,
It's always Mexicans, in fairness. It's the Mexicans ordering it.
But I would definitely get it and then get a thing of Clamato with a lime wedge, squeeze the lime in there, a little salt and pepper, call it good, and then pour that in a beer. It's a Cela Roja in Mexico, which is very similar to what they're trying to do, but whatever.
I've never drank a beer with tomato juice or anything like that.
Have you ever had a Bloody Mary?
No.
No, ever?
I don't think I'd like it.
You like tomato
that's good.
soup, though, right? We're not talking tomatoes here, but tomato soup you like, or at least you used to.
I like tomato-flavored stuff, but always when it's hot,
How do you feel about
Ketchup, I
tomatoes
guess.
as a
Tomatoes
fruit,
are
not
okay.
a vegetable?
In a salad?
No. Well, that reaction was towards salad and tomatoes.
I like a salad. I eat a salad all the time.
I know, it weirds me out because, Nico, you're not as familiar with my brother as I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, he seems to have vastly improved, so you would never notice this about him, but he used to be the fucking pickiest eater in the world.
Yeah.
It was seriously SpaghettiOs and pancakes, and that was it, right?
I'm still a pretty picky eater. Like
I don't think you eat salad. You can't say that anymore.
that is not as
I say
weird
that-
a food as you think it is.
I know, and I'm not picky when it comes to food in general, but salad I've never been interested
You
in.
have lettuce on a hamburger?
Yes, and I'll even request lettuce at Subway for my sandwich.
Well, there you go. And then whatever kind of sauce or dressing you have on that, like it's not like you're eating just dry lettuce. There's flavor to it and stuff like that.
I just like the
onions.
crunch, basically. But I don't want... Yeah, lettuce is fine as an addition to a sandwich, not as a side meal. That doesn't interest me.
Wait, well, what do you get when you order food? The soup?
Yeah, of course.
Always the soup?
Always the soup. It
What if
doesn't
you don't
matter
like
the soup.
I'm picky on soups.
I'm not. The only soup I can't bring myself to eat because of the gag reflex would be the split pea and ham. So if that's the only option, and it hasn't ever been... but otherwise, I'll eat whatever soup you fucking put in front of me.
I hate beans, which really limits my soup options.
Oh, you hate beans.
How can you hate beans, huh?
Oh, man.
That's
Oh,
so
never mind.
general, too. If there was a specific bean that you didn't like.
Red beans, white beans.
Jelly
all-
beans?
Garbanzos, jelly beans. There you go. Yeah, good one.
At work, 2 of our soups have beans in them, and I can't fucking eat them.
If you hate beans so much, why are you married to one?
Ooh.
Oh.
Zinger.
This just took a
I love you,
turn.
I love you.
Just to get it, turn it towards the
Hey,
light again.
don't put that on Facebook. Your parents might see. Fucking, you can't put shit on Nico's Facebook
Oh,
anymore.
calm down. I just fucking did.
Paul and Judy are on Facebook.
Guys, I
Paul
never-
and Julie, asshole. I erase what?
I'm disappointed I never got to make my last bean joke before we moved on.
Go ahead. Let's go back.
How do you feel about Mr. Bean?
It wasn't bad in the context.
All right, Nick. Thanks for trying to save it.
Sometimes it's kind of like when I'm trying to spit in a joke, but like I start it twice, I give up on it. If the subject change, I definitely give up on it.
Okay. Well, now I've learned my lesson because let's go back to Nico and his Facebook Nazi parents.
Yeah.
First of all, I want to say that your parents used to love me.
Oh, they still do. No, they still do. Except for the one. Okay, so I'll bring it out there. It was hilarious.
They're not going to listen to this, are they?
No,
they know better than
they
that.
have no idea this is going on.
Right.
You use too many F words.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We've heard that from a few people.
I was in New York City and I rented a bicycle and I rode across the Brooklyn Bridge.
First of all, Nico was leaving texts or Facebook statuses every single day about his trip. And it was always like, I'm living free in the wind, and this is how I live my life, like a leaf. And
I'm pretending to be oblivious, but yes, I'm your Facebook friend also, and good God, sometimes.
I'm not making fun of you. I'm setting the scene.
Oh, I thought we were making fun of him.
Well, no, it's fine that you say that, but you can't always talk like that and expect not to get made fun of.
For sure, yeah.
So the whole thing, the comment that they saw that didn't like was when...
So I had rented a bike, and I had said that I was like, fuck this walking.
But before that, I want to get to my first joke, which I thought was funny. Right? I don't know. I'm cutting that one. The first thing was,
I like that it's for you as editor. It's okay for you to interject with I'm going to cut that out. Like, that's a personal note to yourself. I don't ever get to do that. You're just like, just keep talking, man. Just make it natural.
I'm still on the mic. I didn't do this. Cut. You were a leaf in the wind, and I said you couldn't sound gayer if you said I take cum showers.
Oh, yeah, that was actually pretty funny.
But that one never came back to bite me.
Yeah, and I didn't delete it either.
It made Heather mad.
What was the other one that the chick thought was so hilarious?
That's the one that...
this has to do with the bike then. Go back to it, Nick.
Yeah, this is the one that
So I was walking around New York City a bunch, and it's a big-ass city, and you're walking, and...
Like Fonzie.
Yeah, thank you. I was just trying to
You
think of
fucked
his
it
name.
up. You fucked that up.
Fonzie, yeah.
Hey.
But so the hostel I was staying at, he rented bikes, and so I was able to rent a bike, and so I made a post like, I'm tired of walking around. I'm going to rent a bike. That's way more my style. And PJ comes up with a Facebook post, and he's like, how about you rent a cock for your mouth? That seems way more your style. And my parents, they just become friends on Facebook, and they didn't post anything, but they called me, and they're like, your friend PJ is really gross. I thought it was brilliant. I was like, I can't even get mad.
I know. Whenever I see a new... Sometimes I'll just look at your page, and I'll follow the links to who you commented on. You are fucking hilarious, but you are vulgar, and I could see how some people wouldn't be into that.
Yeah,
I try not to worry about it too much.
I try to pick my audiences. But it's beyond that now. Like even your parents, like they don't like when you use dirty language on Facebook, right?
Yeah, it was hilarious. Now they're friends because of this East Coast trip, and so my dad actually was like, "You got to stop using the F word so much."
Just in everyday life, he means?
No, just at least like what I'm posting to the world, you know.
Oh,
Which there's some truth there. Thanks, Dad. But I'm like, leave me the fuck alone, man.
Do you have a lot of other family on your Facebook page?
Well, now because of that, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was mom and dad, and now
Once
it's
somebody
like
finds
aunt
you,
and
everybody
uncle,
finds
and then
you, yeah.
cousins and shit. And I'm like, oh man, here we go. And you can't like not accept them as a friend, but I've really thought about like deleting them as a friend after I accept them. Like, hey, yeah, we're friends, and then because I know they're never going to really post anything on me until they.
But
try.
obviously, they're paying enough attention to scold you.
Oh, my parents do, yeah, because I live.
Well, you can't delete your parents without them noticing.
No, I was making that.
I deleted
crack,
Mom yesterday. We'll get to it.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, I was making the crack that I was going to delete my dad after he said, you can't use so many F words. Like, we're not friends anymore, Dad. It's official. We are not friends.
So last we talked about Mom, I had stopped talking to Mom. But then, let's see, when did I send this? October 17th at 1:35 a.m. I don't remember what the circumstances were that night. I was pretty drunk.
Said it like a British woman. Like, I didn't know what the circumstances were.
Yeah, so I was pretty drunk and pretty high and decided that I needed to put an end to this Mom thing. So keep in mind, because it's pretty cheesy, and I haven't actually read it out loud since the night I sent it.
Yeah, I agree that it's pretty cheesy and doesn't really get the message across.
I was just
Nico, are you familiar with the message we're trying to make with my mom? Did you happen to hear that episode?
How do you know that we're even trying to make the same message?
I assume we're on the same page about pretty much everything. This is just
except for Criminal Minds.
This follows a series of like crazy texts my mom was sending about how we're ruining her life with our podcast, even though she shouldn't be listening, and how we keep her away from Sophie, and then her sister who lives with her. She was texting Nick about like all this crazy stuff. Nick,
well, we'll get to that too. This was even pre that.
No. This was after that.
Oh,
because
right.
This is what happened when we were in Seattle. And we just basically ignored the whole... we had planned, we're like, oh, we're going to write this and this and this back, even though these are texts being sent just to Nick. But yeah, so...
But then I never followed through until a few nights later when you weren't there to cloud my brain with bad thoughts. Because if you'd been there, it wouldn't have been nearly as nice. And I'm not saying that it is, but here it is. Tell me what you think, Nico.
Okay.
I know it's been weird, and I know that it's a direct result of the podcast. I miss Melissa and know it's up to me to see her more often. Melissa being our little sister.
Yeah.
I'm sure you think any anger being focused on you right now is unwarranted, but I respectfully disagree. We're, PJ and I, not in this thing together. Although you say it, we are. It's not some weird mission to piss off Mom because we're hung up on our teenage emotions. It comes down to the frustration of not being able to acknowledge the issue of our issues. There's a reason things are the way they are right now. Okay, I'm high. I don't love Dad any more or less than I do you. I'm sorry I'm not a place where I can come see you again just yet. I haven't forgotten the things you've done for me. Love, Nick, is what I wrote her. PJ, I know you're bursting at the seams to say something about it.
No, not really. I don't even really understand the point of the letter. Is it to get her to
leave me alone for a little while?
It seems like you're evoking responses out of it, though.
Yeah, really. It seems more
think?
like an explanation of fault or something like that.
No.
This is to let you know that we're just frustrated with you right now. It almost seems like an admission of guilt and an explanation why. Say things like, you think any anger being okay, you think any anger being focused on you right now is unwarranted, but I disagree.
Respectfully
disagree. This is not some weird mission to piss off Mom because we're hung up on her teenage emotions.
I just don't want her to think that this is totally coming out of left field. She should see that it was coming.
So you're talking about this email?
Yeah, well, you're reading from it. Why wouldn't I be?
Well, I don't know. I thought you were talking about the podcast or something. Although we're not in this thing together, so this email... hung up on our teenage emotions. It's frustration of not being able to acknowledge the issue of our issues. There's a reason things are the way they are right now. Okay, I'm high. I
just read this. Why is he reading it?
Any more or less than I do you. I'm sorry I'm not at a place where I can come see you again. So only in that very last sentence, it's like, but you're not saying like this is a letter to say, just don't talk to me for a while.
Sure it is.
Quit
I just gave it a
texting me.
little padding.
Too vague.
Yeah.
Too vague.
Well, it didn't make a difference anyway.
Right.
Of course this wasn't the end of it.
Right.
Yeah.
I just tried to not make it some huge blow I fucking hate you and this is it, and I just wanted to let her know that I don't get where she's coming from and I'm going to stop talking to her for a while.
But she can't understand when you put things point blank to her, let alone with all this padding on it. She doesn't even know what did she text you after that.
Okay, hold on.
Nico, feel free to pipe in.
Okay. There we go. So, yeah.
So she texted me back the next morning, I guess about 7 hours later. It was good to hear from you, although I don't understand the anger. I just wish you guys would explain it better. I feel, you say that I was pretty vague. You think I could have explained it better?
But see, again, I don't even understand what she wants explained better. By her own admission, we say everything we need to say on this podcast, and that's what makes her so upset.
Speaking of that...
so she's saying she doesn't know what our issues are with her, but she listens to every single episode. She just doesn't agree with them.
Right.
She pretends they never happened.
In fact, the very next line in this text is, this podcast is destroying our family.
Oh, now it's ours.
I don't know what family she remembers.
Yeah.
There's more. Hold on.
Okay.
She sent me 3 in a row. A day doesn't go by when I don't cry because I miss you and PJ and Sophie. No mention of your wife, Alvina. Or you, Nico.
Yeah,
I'm pretty
that's right.
offended.
Yeah. Fucking bitch. No wonder you guys are mad.
I just want to be a family again. And then right in the middle, she doesn't, of course, punctuate. She says, I just want to be a family again. Enjoy Sophie. It's not fair. I love you guys.
Oh, so I thought she was saying enjoy Sophie, some sort of have fun with Sophie.
You never know.
But she's saying she wants to enjoy Sophie.
She needs to learn how to emphasize certain words in text.
Yeah.
It's possible. And then this one came in right after it. This will be it until I hear back from you. But I have to tell you that you and PJ have broken my heart.
What did you think if your mom sent that to you, Nick?
Nico?
Yeah. I don't know, man. That's crazy.
Have you never been in a really intense situation with your parents?
For
like
sure.
This?
The finishing mark there is you've broken my heart.
Yeah.
It's one of those like classic parent things to do where it's like I'm not mad at you, I'm just disappointed.
Right.
Yeah.
But then what's to account for this podcast is destroying our family. That's anybody that listens and gets off on hearing us talk about our parents, and I don't mind that. Thank you.
Yeah.
But nobody cares that much because it's not their lives. They can just everybody takes something different away from it. It's
now,
not like people.
Has she been on the show?
No.
Okay.
I'm thinking about it for episode 100. What do you think?
That would be very interesting.
Yeah, interesting indeed.
That would be a good episode.
I'm surprised by your reaction.
I feel
because I've mentioned this. I've suggested this several times in the past, either mom or dad, because we talked about them both a lot.
I don't want to do it, but it would be very interesting.
It'd be tough, but yeah, it'd be...
Well, we're not done with the story yet, but later on, in some more conversation that comes up, I think she kind of implies that she wants to be.
Yeah.
Like, she can save the family, It'd be
a
big hug out.
But her being on it, that means she's still involved with it. She needs to forget that it exists.
Yeah.
The podcast, really. If we had 4 times as many fans and they were chomping at the bit for it,
then
I could think of it. So tell your friends about this show.
So I don't respond to mom at all at this point.
Well, she says this is it. She ended it.
Well,
right
no,
there.
she said this could be it unless I want to make the change, which is the same fucking bullshit she put me through 2 weeks ago when we last talked about it. In any case, our aunt Denise, the one you'd mentioned, is living with her currently and apparently taking her side on everything now. She sent me a very pleasant
There's
text.
not even sides. The whole thing's a joke. Mom's insane. That's all there is to it. We don't want anything. I don't want anything to do with her.
So Denise says, thanks for emailing. This is a few hours later. Thanks for emailing your mom. Try and keep up the communication. Like, hey, I'm just here as referee, which I also don't like. Meanwhile, mom sends me all this bullshit about how the podcast is destroying our family. And what is she sending you at that exact same time?
Oh, just the most generic, banal shit. Her dad, when I was 7 years old, bought me Where the Wild Things Are book. And all of a sudden, she just remembers that.
Well,
she's
the commercials are on TV all the fucking time.
Do you still have that book? It'd be so nice if we could go see that movie together, blah, blah, blah. At the same time, I was with Nick the day before when she's texting him how I'm ruining her life.
Not to mention...
but she doesn't say that to me. Then she sends me some, just fucking generic text after that. It really shows the up and downs of her...
It's because she's afraid of you, which I've said in the past, but it's true.
I have no emotional connection towards her. I really don't. She is someone
and I've always, our whole growing up, I've always been the one that's it's, I would be the first to say I love you, Mom, when she needed it or something else. Yeah. You were never that guy. And, and I guess maybe my bullshit email that you read earlier, or that I read, indicates that I am a little softer towards Mom, but only because I think it'll make things better in the long run. Not because I care about her as a mother anymore. It's because it'll at least make it easier until she dies.
To me, the whole thing is that, you got along much better with Mom growing up. We were seriously 2 people who don't like each other. It may not happen so much between parents and kids, but there's all sorts of siblings who, once they're old enough to be out of that house from each other, they just don't talk to each other anymore.
Yeah.
My dad's like that with all of his siblings. You know what I mean? That's how it was with me and my mom. We were just waiting until the day when we didn't have to live in the house anymore. So, now, years later, when my kid is born, wanting to be so much a part of her life, that I understand. But I also know that she wishes that Nick's the one who had the kid. So
you really think that?
Yeah. Oh, God, yes. Because you're the one that would make the effort to come around and see her and stuff like that. But because you guys got along better.
I can't even make out with a girl, let alone have a kid at this point.
You guys got along better. She definitely wishes that you had the kid. So it is her grandkid. So because of that one just that one biological thing connecting us, I will be around for you to see your grandkid. But I'm not going to put up with too much shit, you know what I mean? Sure. And she fucking blew it. She's the way she acts, she blew it. I mean,
so if she were to calm down, let's say we don't hear from her at all for the next 8 to 10 months. There won't be a part of you that's hey, she gave it a good try.
She'd have to be a complete. She couldn't act like this anymore. And the first time she did, then cut it off again for 5 years. You know what I mean? She would have to stop acting like this. stop asking, why don't you love me? Why don't you love me? When you know why.
Yeah.
So the next night she sends me another text.
And by the way, you know someone who knows even less about this than you, Nico, is our fucking Aunt Denise. She knows nothing about it.
Oh, we'll get to that.
She has no reason to be texting. Our entire growing up, they barely talked to each other.
Well, to me, it was all...
they fought constantly. They hardly ever talked to each other.
Yeah.
All we ever heard was what a bitch Denise is.
Yeah.
Oh, and I love that she's fucking hearing it now, too. And my mom called you a bitch. Turn around and look at my mom and know that she called you a bitch for over half of my childhood.
Yeah.
All right? Then
I hate it when I laugh when you're being this vicious, because then it just sounds completely malicious.
You're right. And the whole point of the episode is not to direct it to one
but
person.
It is.
Who I
no,
say you shouldn't even be listening. But, well, I mean, we'll have to get to the things she sent me. And we already told the story about that time she called me up when I was a kid.
Yeah, we just
me out
talked
on
about
the
that.
answering machine.
Yeah. Yeah, but her text to me that I just read was all puppies and gumdrops. Yeah. It was all fucking about how, oh, it's great that you're talking to your mom, that you're keeping up this line of communication. It's really making her feel better. So I don't respond to that. I don't respond to mom. The next day, because I'm drunk again, this is 11:56 p.m., mom asked, are you there? I'd like to text. And because she didn't say, are you there? I'd like to call you. And I was drunk enough to take it head on. I was like, because I'm not going to call her, or I'm not going to have her call me. I'm not going to answer.
That's a pretty funny. I want to text right now.
I want to text. Yeah.
But I guess we do it hey, get on IM.
So even though I was at home, yeah, that's true. Even though I was at home drunk and watching House by myself, I wrote back and told her,
you got to rent The Wire. Stop watching House. Stop where you are. Just rent The Wire.
It's next on the list, I swear. But I lied and I said I'm at a party, so texting me is better anyway. What's up? Just because at this time I'm just fueling her fire, because after the night before I was done with it.
No. And you know she'll believe you. You like to party.
She doesn't know what I'm up to. I imagine she thinks, I'm a total.
Quit looking at your phone, Nico.
I know, seriously, I'm getting all these texts right now. Are you kidding me? I was like, hey, I texted back. I was like, hey, I'm recording a podcast right now. Really? I'm second to a podcast? Yeah, shut the fuck up. I'm trying to fucking I'm recording right now.
And then he said, you shouldn't say the F word so much in your text messages.
Yeah,
son.
yeah. It was my dad. He was like, hey. No.
So I open up these lines of communication that she asked for. She writes back, I feel like up until about 15 months ago, you and I were pretty close, which I thought was a hilarious statistic. And I won't even explain. I'll just read what I wrote her back. 15 months ago, the very month we started the podcast. Coincidence? What is it exactly we said at any time that isn't true?
And also, it's more like 13 months ago because for the first couple months she was very supportive of the podcast.
I know, but she's just thinking of it as a whole now, as a massive, drastic whole.
It's ruining your family.
And I clue you in at this point. I tell you that it's happening. I make you sign into Facebook because I don't want to have two texts going on at once. That seems too complicated. And she writes me back and says, I think that you guys need to hear my side of the story. I was trapped in a love... Oh, and that's what makes me think also that she really wants to be on the show. She wants to tell her side of the story. Mm-hmm. Let's do it in front of microphones. What do you think? Yeah. Nico, you could be there.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
that would be...
I'm part of the family now.
Rubber shoulders as she gets nervous. I was trapped in a loveless marriage. I took care of you guys the best I could. I was being controlled.
All right. The best she could, the way she took care of us, was not very good. Okay? And if the reason for that is that she was in a loveless marriage, then what is her excuse now with her sister?
That's a really good question.
What's that? Why is that a good question? Her sister,
No, our sister.
No, we're talking about
our
her
sister.
She says that
still
she's
under her care.
Yeah.
She ruined the way she
poorly.
was raising us because she was in a loveless marriage.
Yeah,
But
she's
doing
blaming
a
our
bad job
dad
with
for the
my
way
sister.
we were raised.
So is she saying that her current marriage is loveless, or is it just some bullshit excuse?
It's a bullshit excuse. And that's what really drives me nuts about it is, her and my dad both. They're both equally guilty. Anytime we see them as adults now, it's all looking for an opening to trash talk the other parent. They don't talk to each other. And it's completely immature, especially because our little sister Melissa, who's mentally retarded and 16 years old and needs all the support she can get, has to hear mom call dad an asshole and dad call mom a cunt. Dad might be right. So this was after a full day. This one came in after midnight on Sunday. Again, I don't respond. And before I hear from her again, I get a text from our little sister, Melissa. Hey, Nick, my bowling regionals is on November 7th. So she's completely oblivious, apparently. She's like, let's go hang out as a family. Mom really wants to see you.
Melissa, text Nick. Tell him about your bowling regionals.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. So later the next night, still haven't talked to Mom. She just keeps going and going. Now she brings her sister Denise into it, our aunt. Yeah. Denise told me that episode 67, which was, the last time we dealt with this head-on, is supposed to answer my questions. I haven't listened for a while, liar, but I will to this along with Denise and Vincent, our stepdad. This is where it gets weird. He's been quiet up until now, but he's pissed tired of watching you guys hurt me. Which I immediately took as a threat almost, right?
Yeah, which is also weird, and this is an explanation to Nico as long as anyone else doesn't know. Our stepdad is not a threat. He's like the quietest, calmest guy ever.
Meek.
Who always minds his own fucking business.
Yeah.
He watches all this shit going on between our mom and us, and he stays the fuck out of it.
Which I've always appreciated about him.
Which is right where he should stay, and which is great.
And I think Mom is just using him like, oh, my big black husband is going to listen to the Every time I say black, you act like I'm being racist. I'm just setting a scene. Like he's a bigger looking dude. In fairness,
Mom is almost black.
Anyway, I'm just saying, he's always been like totally harmless, and even at the barbecues or the birthday parties that I've been forced to in the past, I could always count on Vincent being a guy that I can talk to about whatever bullshit pop culture thing.
Yeah.
Never anything deeper than that. He's never asked for anything more than that. I haven't either. But I've liked him because he always, he's the calm in that awful, awful place.
Yeah.
He's the one guy that's not going to get in your face and want to call Dad an asshole or yell at Melissa, although sometimes he yells at her.
And I always thought it weird that, like, I was always still very comfortable around him, even though he's watched, like, so many blow-ups between me and Mom.
Mainly is when you were still a teenager, though. Right? Weren't those the biggest blowouts?
Yeah, like when I first lived there for the only time I ever lived with them.
Well, they were only...
I think that was the only time I ever lived with them.
They were only newly married. He was probably just, like, trying not to
impose
so
but
much.
He's still kind of like that. Even when we see him after we've had, like, past text wars and stuff like that, like, I don't know, it just doesn't feel weird around him.
He seems like a pretty nice guy. I met him once, too.
Yeah. Calm guy,
well-mannered.
stays out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I write instantly back because I've had enough. There's no reason for you to listen, and I'm asking that you don't, which I know is a senseless request. She's going to listen. She's listening right now.
Yeah.
I'm done this is still me. I'm done trying to make sense to you and won't play this fun game anymore, which is, I thought, like, ooh, burn. But, of course, she took it the wrong way, saying I was, like, rubbing in her face about how fun it is to toy with her, when really... I meant the exact opposite. So she writes me back, fun game? Ripping at my heart. And then she brings Vincent into it again. Vincent is pissed enough that he will listen with or without me. Which, this is incredible at this point. She's never tried to throw her stepdad in her face before. So I write back again, and I just say, I need a few more months off from you. I'm going to stop replying. Please tell Liz, our sister, I miss her and that it isn't her fault. Because all this bullshit with my mom is preventing me from seeing my sister, who, is a handful, and I can only see her so often anyway. But now Mom has even ruled that out as an option as far as I'm concerned. And that's it for me. She didn't reply back to me, and that was the last of our correspondence. And I'm sure it will be until tonight when I'm just about ready to fall asleep.
Yeah. Thoughts, Nico?
Yeah, it's something else. I don't know. I love how many times you guys broke her heart in the last week and a half.
It continues to happen.
That's
She's
all
very impressionable.
Yeah. She's like, oh,
yeah, always in text
and disheartened and yeah.
Not that I blame her because I'm the same way and I always will be, and I could probably blame her for this. But if I'm gonna have a devastating talk like that and tell my kids that they ruined me, I'm gonna have it over text.
I am pretty impressed though that A, she texts so much, and then B, she texted you going, hey, you want to text?
Yeah. Goading me into it.
Yeah.
Totally ridiculous.
I only have 300 minutes, but I have unlimited text. Let's text.
So I guess that's it as far as that story, except for all the stuff PJ has to say.
Yeah, after talking about this for so long.
And of course, and I'm sorry, but towards the end of the night, like when I'm finally texting her back and putting her in her place, or at least my version of that, I'm thinking, there's not an in-between text where I'm not texting you to tell you I'm forwarding you everything I get.
Yeah.
And which I'm sure she knows and I'm sure drives her crazy.
Yeah. Although they do the same thing. As we were listening to this, and I think since I smoked pot, it should be said like this, that all these texts I'm about to read that I sent to my mom, I sent them last night, and I really haven't had time to think about or regret it. But now that we've smoked a little pot,
so you're going to regret it right here on mic?
Yeah, I'm kind of wishing none of this had ever happened, but
it did.
We've gone too far. Continue.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
So I text her back. Mainly my.
You don't text her back.
No,
you text her.
Yeah, because she didn't text.
She didn't text you, but PJ was seeing all the texts she was sending me.
This was mainly out of frustration of that she was sending these things to Nick, talking about me directly.
And it sounds like I'm just trying to stir up the pot, but really I can't deal with it alone, and you're the only one that truly gets it.
And she's saying all
Nothing
this,
against you, Nico, or the listeners.
Fine.
and she's talking about all of her issues with me, but she's just sending me generic texts about seeing a movie. It seemed too much like a game to me. Like she was like, "Oh, la la la," I'll just, you know, it's so bipolar. Even though I'm a doctor, I can't diagnose anything. And this also, in beginning, was response to. I heard that I started writing this right after I heard where she said that Denise says, "Listen to episode 67; it will answer all of her questions," and explaining why our relationship with our dad is better than with her.
And now, sorry to interrupt because you just brought all that.
Talking to the mic.
Yeah. So 67, Denise said to your mom, like, listen to 67 and it'll explain everything.
This
and
will
then
answer all of your questions.
And obviously it didn't because.
Well, she was just threatening to listen to it at this point. Me and Vincent and Denise are going to listen to this together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Denise had apparently already heard it.
Okay.
Yeah, because otherwise, how else would she know that it held all the answers?
Yeah.
I'm not saying it doesn't, by the way. I feel like episode 67 does answer a lot of questions, but Mom doesn't need to hear it that way.
Yeah.
Denise can listen and then give her the cliff notes.
She just shouldn't be listening. That's why it works with my dad. He just doesn't listen, and he doesn't think about it, and he knows our childhood was shitty.
He knows what we're doing. He's aware that we're bashing him.
Yeah. But you know what? That's about our childhood. He knows he fucked up. So he just works on.
So
now.
we respect him more instantly as a
Works on
result.
Now, granted, we're weird too for doing this, but that's neither here
Let's
nor
not
there.
focus on that.
I mean, that's why you shouldn't raise your kid shitty, because something like this could happen. So I write to her.
Oh, that's a good moral lesson. Do not raise your kids like our parents raised us. Otherwise, your kid's going to have a podcast and they're going to talk the shit out of you.
If my daughter was doing this podcast, I'd be like, man, I really fucked it up with her.
Yeah.
I had one chance to be a parent and I fucked it up.
But now, if she were to have a podcast at 18, because that'll happen, 16 years from now, this will still be an element. She'll have nothing but good things to say about how you influenced her to get a broadcast career.
Yeah, so far. Okay, so this is what
Just
I write
kidding,
to my
a woman
mom.
with a broadcast career.
This was a day after Nick's initial email to my mom. I said to my mom, "This is going to be a long text, so bear with me." And that's to her and to you guys and to the listeners. And read the whole thing. You are getting toxic advice from your sister, and you need to sit back and think about what you are doing to our so-called relationship. I can only assume that Sophie is the only reason you send me pleasant texts daily while sending ones to Nick about how we are destroying your life.
Way to rat me out, friend.
Because up until she was born, you couldn't give two shits about me. Whether or not you choose to acknowledge it, everything we say is true. But that doesn't matter because you shouldn't be listening. When we started the podcast, you couldn't be more proud. But now that you think we are somehow sullying your reputation, you try to guilt us into stopping, which shows how hypocritical and selfish you can be. Stop fucking listening. But I know you won't because you are addicted to drama, so just think about this. We talk about what a bad parent dad was just as much as you, but he has sense enough to not listen and not try to justify things from the past, but rather to focus on relationships with us now, even though he knows he doesn't necessarily deserve it. Why did we have Sophie's birthday at his house? Because he doesn't send us insane texts daily telling us how awful we are for doing our project the way we choose to do it. He is focused on Sophie and leaves everything else alone. Why can't you do that? Why can't you do that? Because you're obsessed with the fighting. But I'm not a kid you can bully anymore, so you lose. Listening makes you lose. Denying makes you lose. The fact that your husband and your sister... Wait a minute. The fact that your sister and husband tell you anything other than leave it alone, focus only on your grandkid, makes you lose. I don't want you in my life since you can never let this go. And don't tell me that you can, because you can't. I give you way more opportunity than you deserve, considering the way you treated me my life. If you compose yourself, resist these crazy and no doubt drunken texts you send, and let us alone about the podcast, then maybe Alvina will be willing to be there.
I'm sure that's the case.
When you want to see your grandkid, but only under those conditions. The end.
Wow, you weren't kidding,
Did
man.
you actually put the end too?
Yeah. Well, because I told her to hang in there
Yeah.
until the end before I get
And I
any
can't believe she
response
didn't come
from
back
her.
at any time while you were typing all this out.
Yeah.
She didn't.
No, she waited. Although I got all that done in about 6 minutes.
That's pretty amazing, dude. And the only reason I was so quiet and didn't interject until the very end there is because I think that was really powerful.
Yeah.
And beautifully written.
It really kind of was, yeah.
I knew you'd laugh thinking I'm being sarcastic, but I'm serious. Like, you shit on the email that we initially started this segment with, and it's true because I can't write like that.
Right.
I can't encapsulate my feelings that perfectly.
Right. But it comes out very hateful.
True, but it also, like, the most hurtful things you said when you were reading that just then, like, really stung my heart for a minute almost. Like, okay. You guys...
I'm going to college. What do you want me to say? I'm going to go to college. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get even smarter.
I'm just saying, like, if certain things you say, like certain ways you phrased certain things just then, if I were mom, that would devastate me because it devastates me a little just hearing those things.
But is that what I need to be doing? That's the question.
Well,
that's what the pot
it's devastating
has made
truth.
Me ask myself.
Well, whatever.
But it's true. The whole thing started because I didn't think you were being direct enough to why she should just leave us alone. So she wrote me back. She wrote me right back.
Did she? I can't believe it.
After it was over, after I said the end, I got a text back 24 seconds later.
Wow.
And she
So
can't.
she's not even reading it.
She doesn't take. I think she wrote it probably after the second one, and then she waited to the end. You want me out? I'm out. You are cruel.
You were cool. So that's all she
Cruel.
put. Oh, cruel.
I thought you said cool too. I was like, that's a weird end.
You want me out? I'm out. You are cruel. I write back, although I shouldn't have.
No, we're done now. You
Just-
said the end.
Just as you've.
Epilogue.
Just as I thought, you've misread everything. Have a nice life, but I don't see how that's possible.
See, that's why it was worth it, because you thought of a good life.
So the pot makes me think that was maybe too far.
Don't put the phone away. We got to get to Denise, or at least you got to paraphrase all that bullshit.
Yeah. So we're done with the mom thing? You guys already said
I
your
don't
piece about
know.
what
You
I
look
said
like
to
you
Mom.
were done. You were frustrated.
No.
You were spent. You're over it.
I had finally gone through all my doubts about everything that I sent. Okay, so 2 hours later, I get the text from Denise, and I knew it was going to happen. We told the story about how that time when I said stuff about living with her son that she didn't like, and she bawled me out for it. But I did wonder, is she going to do that again now that I'm a grown adult?
Right.
And I did just make all these points about if you want to see Sophie anymore, you're really teetering on the edge. You know what I mean? Because I can't stand to be around you. This is the only way you're going to get to see her is if my wife goes, but if you keep going, I'm not even going to let that happen.
Right.
Just out of anger and revenge. Okay? So I didn't think that Denise would really rock the boat, but I don't think she can help it. I may not have a right to broadcast what I texted Mom over the internet right now, but I have a right to say what I said to her. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I have the right to say it to her. Maybe I should keep it between her and I, but whatever. That's neither here nor there.
Too late.
So Denise, 2 hours later, I need to ask, what the hell do you mean by my toxic advice?
Oh, I didn't know there was a hell in there.
Wow.
Did you add the hell?
I need to ask you what the hell you mean. What the hell do you mean by my toxic advice?
What do you mean by that?
That was the first sentence of that text. I've been nothing but kind to you, and I'd appreciate it if you could explain. So apparently that means, as long as you're nice to me, that means you're a good advice giver to everybody else. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah, you didn't yell at me like the last time I talked to you when I saw you again 10 years later.
Right.
So just go ahead and tell my mom everything. You're fucking qualified.
Yeah.
So I waited. I didn't
You
know
waited?
what to say.
I don't believe it.
I think I texted you.
Because you seem to work best in the moment.
I was really
Drunk?
Hurt.
Drunkenly hurt?
I was trying to think of the best way to put it. I was like, I really want to make my thoughts come across. And really, I should have ended the whole thing. But once Denise comes into it,
It's getting out of control now.
So I say,
Let's make this between me and you and Mom.
That
and
was
Nico and the podcast.
that was the first thing I wanted to write back was just mind your own business. But
Yeah.
I didn't. I wrote, because I analyzed her text too much, and I said, not too much, I analyzed it. And I said, out of 15 texts, that's the only part you mention. What about leaving things alone and not dragging this out? That was the whole point.
This is to Denise, not to Mom.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she writes, because obviously the 15 texts are between you and your mom. I want to know how I suddenly got involved when I have stayed out of it.
Sure you have.
And no, I don't miss the whole point. I'm not stupid. As far as I can remember, I have tested you, but I think she means texted you, about getting together with you guys. At first I thought she meant like test the waters, but she texted you about getting together with you guys. I have been looking forward to seeing you and Sophie misspelled and meeting Alvina.
PH? Was it a PH?
Yeah.
Oh.
What is toxic about that? Did I miss something? Toxic is telling her that episode 67 has the answers to all of her questions. Ridiculous is you texting me at 11:30 wanting a confrontation.
That's what you replied back, or then?
Yeah, that was
Okay,
his
yeah.
reply.
And then I wrote,
You didn't clarify.
and then I wrote, those 15 texts were between me and my mother, but you not missing the point shows you read them anyway. She says, she asked me to read them, which I realize that I did with every text Mom sent to you.
True.
She asked
You
me
didn't ask. I just give it to you.
She asked me to read them. I told her what you said about episode 67 because
What did you say about it?
I don't know. Because apparently it will give her the answers you were she is
hold
seeking.
on.
Was there something in that episode where we said, "Listen now, Mom, because this explains"?
Probably.
That seems
Okay.
like something we'd say.
Oh, but still, it's Denise that listened and then reports it all to Mom.
Yeah.
We didn't ask Denise to listen. I'd prefer she didn't, too.
You-
Otherwise, we wouldn't said half the things we said in the last episode. Yes, we would have.
She continues, "You won't tell her the problem yourself, so listening to it might do that." I didn't realize I wasn't supposed to talk to her at all, like ever. Obviously, texting you at this time isn't a problem because you answered me immediately.
That is so petty. That is so petty.
Tom Petty.
It's so petty, I almost made a lame Tom Petty joke, but then I abstained.
So I respond to her. My speed of response is irrelevant,
Thank you.
but it's not surprising to see a fight being picked with every sentence, so I'll
No
be brief.
kidding. God, I'm so glad you said that, guy.
If you have any influence over her, then use it for good. Tell her not to listen. You should do the same. Also, please remove my number from your phone, and I'll do the same.
Ouch. To your own aunt.
She says, I will also remove you from my phone. Congrats on totally alienating a family member. I feel sorry for you and hope... This is my aunt, by the way.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for you and hope you can find some resolution to your clearly deep-seated mental instability.
Wow. Coming from Denise. Do we even want to get into this?
I said it last night. I resisted the obligatory pot calling the kettle black joke.
Yes. And that's all I guess we have to say. She was at least an extra, and if you look at the DVD extras, the deleted scene, she's in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest as a legitimate. I couldn't even finish it.
Was she the one that lifted up the sink out of the wall?
She loves her some juicy fruit.
So this is where I got really weird. And
Weird?
At the time, I was like, oh, I just want to think of something crazy to write. But I don't think it was that good. But I said, oh, no. I've got lots of family to alienate. I'm just getting started. Maybe I'll dig a hole to live in so you all just leave me the fuck alone. Or I'll start my own country with no paranoid narcissists allowed, and I can do and say what I please without everyone thinking it's all about them. In 40 years, one of us will still be here, and it will be me.
Oh my God.
It will be me, and I will be fat and happy, and my phone will stay silent. My mental illness and I will be at peace, and I will drink distilled urine. This is where it gets dumb.
This is where it gets all Waterworld on
And
us.
use dead animal carcasses as shoes, and I will record podcasts and put the tapes on the graves of all of my enemies, and I'll dance naked and sing to the clouds.
So this is one that never got past the draft stage, right? You didn't actually send this last
No,
one?
I sent all
Oh,
of this.
that's unfortunate.
Until one of the clouds tell me it's time to go, then I'll shoot heroin until I'm dead, and I'll be happy. And most importantly, I'll leave my daughter alone to live her own life and not let my mental illness drag her down.
Ooh. Yeah, that was, man. See, again, at the end, he saves it. Even after all your weird Kerouac, Michelle Gondry bullshit.
Life is like a leaf. Keep turning. Yeah,
Speaking of Nico's
I know,
Facebook
dude.
updates.
It was so hotty. I was like, this is where I write my masterpiece. And it came out like that. So 10 minutes later, Mom texts me.
Oh, there's more, Nico. There's more.
Wait for it.
Stay awake.
Wait for it.
I love you, PJ. And I will
Oh, God.
and I will respect your wishes until things get better.
Will she?
Doubtful.
But that was the official last you'd heard from her.
Yes. And then an hour later is when Stepdad comes into the mix.
Oh,
You remember Stepdad.
No.
Stepdad.
Yeah.
Stepdad Part 4.
This is my favorite part of the whole story, by the way.
At this point,
And you know Mom's right over his shoulder. Just do it. Just let him see that it's from your phone.
yeah, because he even makes it clear that like he doesn't even like he just wants to say this.
This is what makes me
Don't
laugh
write
so
back.
much.
Okay, so Nick and I had been talking on Facebook at this point, and
It's what we do. It's what we do.
and we had been talking about all this stuff, and then Nick had said he deleted them all as Facebook friends so that he wouldn't get any crazy thing just pop up on his Facebook
Doesn't seem
wall
that rash, right?
or some
Like,
email.
She's making my life miserable and analyzing every single fucking
Right.
thing I post.
Plus,
this whole thing started because we put pictures of I put pictures of PJ's daughter's birthday party on Facebook.
Yeah.
Then she's all on our face
Yeah.
again.
Plus, this way they can't send us an email, and most importantly, it's fucking Facebook. After all these texts we just sent, don't take Facebook so personally.
Yeah. But I'm sure she's noticed by now and she's devastated.
Oh yeah, she did. Because Vincent writes me, this is an hour after that text with Denise. This is after we
When's
took
the
her
last
down.
time you got a text from Vincent? Ever?
Yeah. After we removed them as Facebook friends. I didn't block anybody on Facebook.
Yeah, neither did I.
But Vincent writes me at 1:10 a.m. A query. And feel free to answer at your leisure,
I fucking love Vincent, even now.
as I will doubtless be asleep for a response. But why, pray,
Wait,
have we been blocked and or deleted?
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah.
So I just said,
he was doing a character,
Yeah.
and that's what still makes Vincent okay. Like Mom earlier was trying to make that guy a threat. Like he's, what did she say? Piss angry about how much you guys have hurt me.
tired, yeah.
But clearly, this thing is still a joke to him, as it is to me for the most part. And the way he phrased that, like it's clear that I'm still fine with Vincent. Vincent, if you want to come grab a beer, I'll tell you everything Mom wants to know.
Yeah.
Just have her make a list
then
before
you can
come
tell
out.
her back.
Yes.
You report it back to her.
I can drink with you. I can smoke with you.
Answer every question.
I will,
That's
because
a
you
good
know why?
idea.
Because, yeah. And I'll let you hold the baby. I know I'm just the uncle here, but I'm giving him free permission.
So I wasn't going to get mean with Vincent or anything.
Of course.
I just said, this has to end. Time to leave PJ alone now. And then I kind of think, like, maybe he just thought my wife wrote that, so that would end it too.
Oh, because you talked in third person?
Right.
Yeah.
But he was talking weird, so my
Yeah, his was
natural
much weirder than
response
yours.
was do third person.
I mean, minus the dead carcass shoes you mentioned earlier. Yeah.
And then he says, "Good night, young sir."
See, so cool.
Parenthetical, no response required.
Oh, see?
In other words, I want the last word. It's what will make your mother happy.
And you gave it to him, right?
Yeah, I sure
So that's
did.
fucking it.
but I got the last fucking word on this podcast. Oh shit!
Oh god!
Oh,
yeah.
shit.
It's out. It's in the ether.
I'm gonna leave it on their graves.
Nico, final words.
I think you put it
On
back.
this subject.
I'm not stopping on that.
I just feel like you literally have not talked in half an hour.
No, because I haven't, but that's fine.
Was it
it was funny
interesting?
because it was super.
Nico
interesting,
could
yeah.
never be a therapist.
I
He was
funny?
asleep the whole time.
Was I funny?
No.
Were my
you never
texts
are.
written okay?
Nah, I don't think so.
Oh yeah.
No.
A lot of misspellings, I think.
A lot of misspellings, yeah. I was laughing because before this all started, I was thinking about, hey, okay, screw you, Dad, for saying I'm using the F-bomb too much. I'm thinking about dropping you as a friend, and I'm glad that at the end of it, you're like, yeah, we're not friends, Mom. Like, it's official.
It's Facebook official.
Yeah. Because that's how I know who my friends are, is through Facebook. I'm like, hey, I guess we're officially friends. Okay, I can talk to you now.
Yeah, before Facebook, did people have friends?
I don't think so.
I
Not
can't find
official
anybody like that I went to school, or no one will find me that I went to school with on Facebook.
You got to find them, buddy.
I wish I still had like an 8th grade yearbook because I would look them up. Like,
I
just
think
out
I
of
still have my
curiosity.
8th grade yearbook, which would have been your 6th grade yearbook.
Yeah, there's some people.
You wanna
I
go
could
through
look
it
up.
together?
Yeah, I really
We'll
do.
make a night of it.
Maybe some wine, candlelit. What the hell are you guys talking about?
If Stephanie Lundell still as hot as she was in the 8th grade, I'd fuck her.
I think she's on classmates.com. Well, see, the thing is, like, I literally looked on classmates.com. I was like, I just
I
want
thought
to.
that costed money.
No, you can, first
look
of
for
all,
free, right?
work on your English. Costed money. But
I
no,
said accosted.
I felt accosted with your costed.
I think
Thank you, Nick.
I think to see their profiles or anything, you have to pay money, be like a gold member or something. But like if you just type in a school, it'll tell you everyone who's listed from that school. So then I would just look at like the years I went, and I try to find them on Facebook. Not that I would even friend request them. I just want to see a picture.
Yeah.
And
That's
see
all
it
it comes
creepy
down to for
about-
me, too.
yeah.
The
It's
only
like-
one I could find was Carl Mertz. Found Carl Mertz on
Was he
Facebook.
picking his nose at his default?
This guy, one time we caught him picking his nose.
No. That is not true. I was in the same grade as him. You were not.
I remember hearing
I
one
shared-
story about him shielding his nose with his
It's
hand
what he would do.
while picking his nose.
Like, seriously, in the middle of class, yeah, he would put...
Dude, I used to pick my nose a lot with pencil erasers.
Oh, man, you
I
gotta
still
go...
pick my nose. I got caught picking my nose yesterday. I
Oh
was
man,
like,
my
Yeah,
wife,
but it's
my
finger.
wife catches me every time.
It's finger or nothing. Don't put a
Yeah.
pencil up there.
Well, that was
seems
as a
dangerous.
kid. I used to put beads in my foreskin.
Anyway, I guess there's not much more to the Carl Mertz story other than you should friend that guy on Facebook.
I did. I used to,
You put beads on your foreskin. What'd you say?
remember field day?
Yeah, we would earn beads.
We would earn beads, and I'd be in class, and I'd have these beads, and I'd pull back my foreskin,
How did I
Oh,
miss
so
this
you're
the
still-
first time? No wonder you were so hung up.
and I
Dude.
I closed my foreskin, my uncircumcised foreskin, over it,
Are you
and then
still
my
uncircumcised?
bead would be
I don't
there.
even want to know.
Oh
Yeah,
my
I don't-
God.
PJ.
Yeah, you don't do it when you're
PJ.
18.
Once you're 3 months and you're
Yeah.
uncircumcised,
Yeah,
you're
you're just sticking with
uncircumcised,
it.
barring
Yeah.
some accident.
This is
And one time I couldn't get one out, and it was pretty scary. And then I also remember in school, James Monroe caught me picking my nose with a pencil eraser and then putting it in my mouth, or as I called it back then, a pencil eraser.
Let's go back to the beads. Dude, so
It's pretty much just a one-off story.
I know.
I don't remember what I was thinking at the
But does
time.
that mean like when you're at the porn store, which is what, like every other day? do you sit there in front of the
By the
urethra
porn store, you mean
spreaders
the
and just
internet?
so you sit there in front of the urethra spreaders and just think about it for a minute?
No, that was not.
I wasn't going anal beads. I went another way with it
That
because
was-
you're putting things in your cockhole basically.
No, I'm not putting it in my urethra. I'm putting it in my foreskin. It closes around.
Close
it.
enough.
You can put your pinky in there and just have your foreskin covering
Dude,
your
what do you
pinky,
do in your spare
and you're
time?
Touching the cockhead the whole time. That's
you
what
need
this
to
bead
be
is doing.
circumcised just so you don't get a disease
This
with
was
all
not.
your play time.
This was not a precursor
Sticking
to
pennies in
my.
there and shit.
Hold on, because this sentence is going to make me sound smart. This is not a precursor to my proclivity for sexual preferences later in life. Just something I did. I had foreskin. I was going to use it.
I haven't used my foreskin for anything good, except for as a cum catcher sometimes if I don't have a towel when I'm jerking off.
All right.
Oh, that's not cool? That's uncouth, right? No, I'm sorry. Go back to the beads for 10 more minutes.
No. That's fine. But
You're right. This has gotten a little graphic. And Nick goes silent again. We keep doing this.
Yeah.
So, Nick, have you found any of your old school friends on Facebook?
Play Brotherhood. Play Brotherhood. PJ and Nick are out of control. They would crash the airwaves with a microphone. So sit down tight and listen close. All the ladies now take off your clothes. Play Brotherhood. Play Brotherhood.
Anybody else think Step Brothers is the funniest movie on planet Earth? Because I do.
I haven't actually seen it. No.
Are you serious? Oh,
You've
man.
been hung up on that for
Step
like 3
Brothers. I
months.
think it said Stump Brothers. You need to enunciate your words, man. I hate when people don't pronounce shit right.
You know there's not a movie called Stump Brothers.
Yeah,
That's
I
why
wish
I was
there
like, I've
was.
never seen it.
You guys wouldn't see Stump Brothers?
Yeah.
I'd see that twice.
I'm making it.
Does it star those two midgets?
Oh,
from
it's
The Amazing
Jackass.
Race?
Yeah, that's right.